Welcome to Focus on the Arts. My name is Molly Greer, and today I have Dr. Jeremy Wolf with me here today. Jeremy, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Jeremy is actually a professor here on the Missouri Southern campus, but he is also involved heavily with the local stained glass theater. Can you tell me just a little bit about what stained glass theater is and what they're about? Sure.
We are a faith-based creative arts organization, and we provide any sort of creative arts to the community. Mostly it's been plays, but we're also looking at doing some other things like maybe some dance and local concerts, maybe doing some other types of art like sculpting or painting or photography. Mm-hmm. So what is your specific involvement with the stained glass theater? Well, I am a sometimes actor and a frequent, well, I don't know about frequent, but annual director. And then I'm also the president of the board at Stained Glass. Okay. So recently, Stained Glass Theater just had a fundraiser, and as we know, the original building of Stained Glass Theater was wiped away in the Joplin 2011 tornado. So you guys have kind of been jumping around for a while doing your shows in different areas. Where are you right now? Right now our address is 2101 Annie Baxter. And like you said, for about 4 years, after we lost our building, for about 4 years we were homeless. Mm-hmm. And so we were at, maybe 8 or 10 other theaters or stages. And so we really got worn out doing that, mm-hmm. and finally have a home again, and are purchasing this building. But our fundraiser was mostly to turn it from an auditorium where a church was into a theater. Okay. So making it look like a stage and putting in theater seating and painting it and adding bathrooms, just those important things that patrons want. Yes, so. Absolutely. So where is the whole process in getting that transformation completed? We are open and having shows, but there's still some work to do. And so when people come in, they notice that not everything's exactly like it will be. Mm-hmm. Just recently, though, we've hung our lights, our theater lighting, and are going to be able to have some sound available for our shows. And so we had some temporary lighting going on, and now we've taken a next step up, and we have some real theater lighting. So we're excited about doing our first show with that. Yeah. So what will that show be? That's our Christmas show, and that's coming up here in a few weeks, mm-hmm. and it's Little Women, and we have a really great cast. You can actually look at what the dates and times and all the costs are on our Facebook page, Stained Glass Theater Joplin, and it can give all the details for that, but we're real excited about that show. Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a great show. I love Little Women. So what are your past experiences? What shows have you been involved in the past, specific shows? Probably the show that I was in that was the one I enjoyed the most was The Count of Monte Cristo. Okay. And I think you're somewhat familiar with that one. I am, yes. And so I got to be a villain in that, and my wife, I got to kill her in the show a few times. So it was a lot of fun. But since then, probably my favorite show is the one I got to direct, which was A Tale of Two Cities. And we actually had a working guillotine. And so it was just real impactful, and it was all drama, no humor, so it was a lot of fun to do. Yeah, that does sound fun. So you mentioned that you've done shows with your wife before, and I think at Stained Glass Theater it's pretty common for the shows to be kind of like a family effort. Do you feel that way? Oh, absolutely. It seems like all the shows that I direct, my family always tends to be in part of it. Mm-hmm. So they're either actors, or they're backstage, or running lights or something. But that's probably what we enjoy the most, is we're all able to be involved together. And in fact, I would say that's one of the things that a lot of the families enjoy, is they can all be in the show together, and it's an environment where you feel comfortable with your kids being there. Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future look like for Stained Glass Theater? Well, we are going to have full slates of shows, which means we'll have at least 8 shows every year, that's an improvement from where we were. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to also add some of the other creative arts. And we've already had one concert at the theater, and we're looking at maybe adding some more concerts from local bands and musicians. And then I think we're going to eventually have some classes that teach some of the creative arts that we'd like the community to have opportunities to participate in. Such as like acting classes and voice, or? Yeah, the one that I've heard most often has been like Shakespearean acting. So that's a little outside our comfort zone, and I think it'll be something that people would really enjoy and something that we just really haven't done much of yet.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Stained Glass Theater has moving towards the right way, and they have a great future ahead of them. So it's good to hear. And then we wish you the best in all of your fundraising and getting the whole church transformed into that theater. So that'll be great, and we wish you the best with that. Thank you for watching, everyone. We're going to go to Aaron now, who's talking with Callie with the Downtown Joplin Alliance.
Thank you, Molly. I'm Aaron Weatherford, and I'm here today with Miss Callie Hudson. She is the Executive Director of Downtown Joplin Alliance. How are you today, Callie?
I'm quite well. How are you, Mr.
Good.
Aaron?
You're doing great. It's
Good.
Friday. It's a wonderful day. Now, many of us folks here in Joplin already know about Downtown Joplin Alliance, but if you're a new person in town, if you just moved here, can you tell us a little bit about what Downtown Joplin Alliance does?
Downtown Joplin Alliance exists to bring life to downtown, and we do that a number of different ways. We focus on economic development issues and historic preservation initiatives, and we like to throw really big parties.
Okay, and what exactly do you do to throw really big parties? How do you do that?
Well, how long do you have? No, seriously, we have these regular events. One of the things that we do for 8 months out of the year is Third Thursdays, which is all kinds of fun stuff. It's really the cornerstone community event here in Joplin and the surrounding area. Thousands of people come out for art and for music and food and all sorts of just super fun stuff. It changes from month to month, so it's always kind of a surprise and a treasure around every corner. But one of the things that we've gleaned from having these big events is that people come to them and then they're able to discover things that they wouldn't have known were downtown, and it tends to increase that foot traffic. So if you come to Third Thursday, you might discover a restaurant that you didn't know was there, or kind of a unique, quirky little shop or something, and so people tend to come back around after they come for one of our big events.
Absolutely, and as I'm from Fayetteville, so I'm new to Joplin, Instant Karma, I love that place.
Instant Karma,
That's
yep.
a good one right there. So tell me about the events that you hold to get together. I know we talked about Third Thursday. Is there any other events that actually take place downtown that you put on that kind of help get people excited about the area?
Yeah, we have all kinds of different events. Our signature event this year was called Slide the City. We put a 700-foot water slide right down the middle of Main Street, which was super fun. It was a great day. And, coming up in just a few weeks, we have the Saturday following Thanksgiving is nationally known as Small Business Saturday. So we are going to have a bit of a Third Thursday feeling for that day, the Saturday following Thanksgiving. So it'll be Thanksgiving, then Black Friday, and then Small Business Saturday. But we're going to invite all of those vendors and all of those creators and artisans who normally come to Third Thursday to come back, but we're going to put them inside. So there are a few storefronts that are vacant right now, and then we'll pair them up with other storefronts that we're going to be open on that day anyway. So it'll really give us an opportunity to have yet another event downtown and pair it with kind of the holiday season. So we're going to have Christmas tree vendors there and Santa Claus photo ops and a horse and buggy carriage situation. It'll be all sorts of fun, all sorts of holiday magic happening downtown in just a few weeks.
Great. So if I want a hot dog that day, I can definitely get one downtown still.
You could. It could probably be wrapped in, like Christmas beef or something.
Outstanding. Now, one of the things that I noticed when I first moved here and attended Third Thursday for the first time was that sometimes parking is an issue downtown. I saw in the paper and whatnot that you've been working on that project a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about how your Downtown Joplin Alliance is working to make parking easier, for one, and just a more friendly downtown area?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, one of the things that we did was talk to as many stakeholders as possible. And when I say stakeholder, I mean people who own property downtown or live downtown or work there or visit there often. Anyone whose life kind of day in and day out involves a downtown area. So we were talking to those people as much as we could, and what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what gets in the way of your success. And parking was something that came up over and over and over, and people just frustrated with finding a place to park. There are lots of city-owned lots, but they were regulated by permits. In order to park there, you had to buy a permit. So we spoke with the city at length this year. We worked on it for about 9 months to find a way to free up those lots so that you didn't have to have a permit to park there anymore. And we have achieved that. It will go into effect on November 16th. That's the next city council meeting, and where that legal verbiage will become official. So there are now 300 plus parking places that used to be permit only that will now be free to the public. So
that should hopefully definitely bring more people downtown,
For
encourage
sure,
people to get downtown. So, okay, so the next city council meeting is coming up on the 16th, as you said.
Yeah.
So at that time, are they going to designate when that's going to start, or is that going to start then? Or
Yeah.
Is this going to be a permanent thing for the next X number of months, or how are we going to do that?
we are going to monitor the situation for at least 12 months and receive feedback ongoing throughout that process. And at the end of that 12 months, kind of reevaluate and see if this was the best solution to that problem. If it was, then we'll go ahead and continue with the free parking. If there are any tweaks that need to be made, we'll address it then. Yeah.
Absolutely, that works great. Now, you said third Thursday, now that goes from, is it March to October?
March
Is
to
that
October,
correct?
mhm,
Okay.
yep.
And you've obviously present that each month. And so it was just a couple of months ago, Missouri Southern actually sponsored
Yes,
Third Thursday.
yeah.
And it looked like there was a great turnout for that. And as a matter of fact, the next month you and I visited, and it was even more. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about that final month?
Yeah, sure. So the final month was incredible, and the month prior to that, as you just touched on, Missouri Southern sponsored, and they just killed it. All sorts of really fun things. I think one of the things that Missouri Southern did was like build a human foosball game, which was incredible and super popular, and they really just knocked it out of the park, and that established a standard for the next month. And so Joplin Schools took over Third Thursday the next month and really did a great job. But I feel like that last month and that shoulder-to-shoulder traffic, and it was a couple of things. It was weather for sure, but Missouri Southern really set the standard this year, and I'm looking forward to what we're able to accomplish next year based on that standard.
It was terrific, and like I said, that was my first month at Third Thursday,
Nice.
so I'm definitely looking forward to the next Third Thursday.
Sure, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Callie. I really appreciate you being here. And now we are going to go to Jordan and Art Feeds in Joplin.
Hi, my name is Jordan Comer. Welcome to this portion of Focus on the Arts. Today I have Ashley LeBlanc here with me. She's the Executive Director of Art Feeds here in Joplin. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about what Art Feeds is and how they're impacting in the community. Thanks for joining me, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So first, can you tell me, how was Art Feeds established?
Sure. So we say Art Feeds was started by an accident. It was actually founded here in Joplin in 2009. Our founder and CEO, Meg Bourne-Holsey, she was working in a behavioral disorder classroom actually at Royal Heights Elementary, and she was working with one student in particular who was just having a hard time. He was academically behind. Everyone in his class was learning to write their ABCs, and he just wasn't able to get there. So she decided to spend one-on-one time with him and try to catch him up to speed. Through that, something kind of crazy happened. He disclosed to her that he wasn't being fed at home, and that's something that just really shook her at her core, because it came down to this idea of, if his basic needs weren't being met at home by the person he trusted the most, then he is not going to value his thoughts or himself or the ideas that he produces in the classroom. So she worked with the school and his parents to get him on free and reduced lunches, snacks to take home, and that need was met, but he was still pretty far behind academically. So she started brainstorming, and she remembered that when she was a child, art was something that her parents introduced to her to help her with some of the social anxiety that she experienced. So she brought paint into the classroom, and he began painting, and she realized that he was an amazing artist. And through that, she was like, well, if he's good at art, let's bring that into the academic classroom. So she asked him to try to paint his ABCs, and they realized that he could paint his ABCs, but he could not write his ABCs. So the information was there, he just didn't have an avenue to express it. So that's how we developed the name Art Feeds. And from there, it was just a snowball effect. She started working with other students in that classroom who were struggling with other things, and it just started working. They started realizing that their ideas mattered. They were able to disclose things through art that they weren't able to verbally express. And it moved from one behavioral disorder classroom to multiple. We started working with other behavioral disorder classrooms and special education classrooms, and then the tornado hit. And after the tornado, things changed because the community looked a little bit different. We realized that after the tornado,
the kids had to try to deal with that in some way, that the children were left with something that they had to try to rationalize in their minds. And as a child, that's a hard thing to do if you don't have a way to express it. So we launched something that we call whole school programming. That means that we are seeing every single child in the schools that we are working in. So we developed this type of trauma response curriculum, working with the students to respond to this trauma, to figure out a way for them to express themselves. And through that, we realized that this is not just trauma response, that every day a child is going through something that they need to express, whether that's emotionally, physically, academically, whether it's at school or at home, which every child has something that they need to express. And that's how we kind of developed our curriculum and what we care most about, which is growing the creative capacity of children and also teaching them ways to express themselves through all forms of art.
Wow, that is
kind of a big story,
but story though. Way to start an organization. Yeah. So what exactly would you guys say that Art Feeds' mission is through all of this experience and through kind of the whole process of starting it? Kind of what's their mission now that they've kind of evolved to what they are now?
Yeah, so our official mission is that we exist to feed creative development and emotional expression in elementary age children. So that means that our curriculum is 50% creative education and 50% therapeutic art. We want to address the entire child because we believe that the skills that they learn in the Art Feeds classroom, which is developing perseverance and grit and problem-solving skills, that those skills that they develop will transcend all subjects. So this isn't something, they're not just learning to be good artists. They're learning to develop skills that will help them in math and in reading and in subjects and things in life that are going to be hard for them. And with their creative capacities, we can't prepare these students for a life that is not yet created. We live in a world that's always changing, and we don't know what life is going to be like when these students are adults. So we can't prepare them for a lifestyle and for jobs that aren't a thing yet. So we believe that if we give them these tools, that they should be successful because they have the tools to succeed through whatever life really throws at them. Mm-hmm. And then that's where expression plays in as well. Along that way that they're going to need to express themselves. And so we introduce every form of art. We do dancing and storytelling and painting and drawing, and we do molding and sculpting, and we just try to introduce them to everything we possibly can, because one thing is going to be perfect for a child. They're going to love storytelling, but maybe there's a shy child in the class that absolutely loves drawing in their sketchbook. So we try to expose them to everything to find the avenue that they like best.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys kind of touch on certain subjects and really kind of allow them to pick and choose what they want to be a part of, and I know that allows them to kind of express themselves better. Yeah. So are there certain communities that you guys are reaching out to, or ones that you're eventually going to reach out to?
So this is kind of an exciting time for Art Feeds. So as I mentioned, Art Feeds was established in Joplin, but almost 2 years ago, Art Feeds grew into a national nonprofit, meaning what we do here in Joplin is now being replicated in other communities nationwide. So we officially have a chapter here in Joplin, and that's who I work for. We have a chapter in Carthage, reaching the Carthage community, and then Art Feeds National, who works on developing new chapters, they are developing a chapter as well in Northwest Arkansas.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're growing.
Yes.
Yeah, here in Joplin, we reach over 2,000 students consistently, and to date we've reached over 24,000 students. So the numbers are definitely growing.
Wow, that's incredible. So I guess with the impact, what have you seen with the kids? What kind of impact have you seen with them?
Yeah, that's a question that we get a lot, and it's something that it's hard to express because every child gains a skill or knowledge or an expression in a different way. But there's one story that I always love to share because it's made the biggest impact on me. It was actually when I was volunteering with Art Feeds in 2012 in the spring, and I was working at an elementary school, and that I absolutely loved, but I developed a relationship with a child who every day he would come in and he would be a mess. You could tell that he did not believe in himself or the ideas that he was producing. every day would basically end in tears. He couldn't make it through a lesson because he would crumble up his artwork. He would throw it away. He would tear it up. He wanted nothing to do with it. He was not proud of it. He was not confident in it. And if he wasn't confident in that artwork, I knew that was coming into the academic classroom as well. So the best part about working with that child is after a semester of Art Feeds programming, which he was being poured into by adult community members who cared about him and his emotional well-being, and he was being fed by curriculum that was feeding his expression, but at the same time his creative capacity. At the end of that semester, he was able to stand in front of his class with his artwork and tell his classmates about it, but be proud in it as well, and be laughing and smiling, and his classmates were cheering him on, and it was something that he couldn't even imagine that first day of art Feeds class. But by the end of it, his confidence had grown in himself, and that not only played out in the Art Feeds classroom, but also in the academic classroom as well.
Wow, so I bet that's something you guys are really proud of, and a story that kind of evolves throughout time, and that you see that plenty of times throughout your work. So just real quick, what does the future hold for Art Feeds?
Sure. Yeah, it's like I mentioned, it's an exciting time. Art Feeds National is just growing us in a way that we're reaching new communities that we've never reached before, but here in Joplin, we're kind of at a cool point as well. Right now, we're in 11 schools and 3 children's organizations for this school year, and hopefully next school year that will grow, and we'll be in some private schools as well, which is really exciting. But also, we're in this process of creating a new mobile art center. We were gifted a mobile art center after the tornado by Extreme Home Makeover. But just after wear and tear in time, we've had to unfortunately retire that mobile art center. But it's kind of become a staple in our community. So we are creating a new one. We bought a school bus over summer. And we are going to completely redo it, make it into a mobile art classroom. And the exciting thing about that is our plan is to take it into communities, into parks and neighborhoods, and provide free therapeutic art and creative education lessons for the children that maybe don't have Art Feeds programming or just need more of it. So it's exciting because that provides a new opportunity to reach more children in this community and meet them in a more intimate way as well.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, and I know the community really sees you guys as a staple piece in helping kids grow and express themselves, and we love what you guys are doing. So thank you guys, and thank you for joining me. Next up, we have India at Spiva Center for the Arts.
Hello Alliance, welcome to this portion of Focus on the Arts. My name is India Coleman, and today I'm at Spiva Center for the Arts in downtown Joplin. Today I'm speaking with Sean Conroy, who's the exhibit coordinator here at the Arts Center. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, first I'd just like to ask you, can you tell us when the Arts Center was first established?
Well, as our name Spiva, we get our name Spiva from a guy named George A. Spiva. And him and a group of artists who called themselves the Ozark Arts Guild started the Spiva Center for the Arts. And at the time, it was in a house, an old mansion, for quite some time. And then it moved to the campus of MSSU for a while and was there for quite some time as well. And then in the mid-90s, we moved into this building. This is where we've been. So we've been, we will be going into our 70th year as an organization.
Wow. That's really neat. So what is the goal of the Arts Center?
The goal of the Arts Center is to basically serve the community in the sense of a place where people can come and look at art, discuss art, learn about art, make art, anything to do with the creative process. Our motto is we celebrate the creative experience.
Oh, that's really cool.
We have classes for everybody from little kids to adults. You get to come to an event called Art on Tap, where we have a live band and beer and music and art. So there's a lot of benefits to being a member.
That's really neat. So you mentioned that you guys have classes. So what kind of classes do you offer here?
Well, During the week, we mainly have the classes for the kids. Every Tuesday we have Creation Station from 3:45 to 5:15, and that's ages 6 to 12. And that's just like a $6 class, and it's an after-school thing, and it's different every time. And then on Thursdays we have the Young Painters class, which again is the same age group of 6 to 10. It's a little bit more money. I'm not actually sure about the price on that. But it's more of a continuing process to learn how to do different techniques of painting. We also have a class that we offer on Thursdays called Memories in the Making. That's for Alzheimer's patients. Painting is a way to help their memories stay for them. And so those are the classes that we will offer on a regular basis. We also have a class on Wednesday mornings called Preschooler and Pal, and that's for preschool age kids. And those are our consistent classes. And then, oh yeah, I almost forgot, Art Lounge, which is on Mondays. And that's a long class. I think that's from 5 until 8.
Wow.
And that's a class for high school students to work on. It's for the high school students who are pretty serious about art and want to do, longer, more in-depth projects. And they come here and they make art. We feed them dinner, and it's also a chance to kind of socialize with, like minds, creative minds and stuff.